What is up, guys? RSC 6414 here, back with episode number 3 of SuperCard Radio with your host, RSC 6414. And today I'm going to be recapping Raw. I just finished watching it since I didn't get a review in yesterday. I'll recap some of it. I'll be talking a little bit about Bound For Glory. There'll probably be some complaining about it from me. And I'll be talking about some other things as well, like the ROH upcoming pay-per-view perhaps. Haven't decided yet. But, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get to it. Raw was pretty good to pretty good episode for the first 2 hours. The last hour wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. We had Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose at the beginning in a great back and forth match. Daniel Bryan ended up victorious with the lapel lock or the yes lock, and probably one of the better matches of the night when these two get in the ring. You never know what's going to happen. You'll always get some good wrestling action from these two. And, so yeah, Bryan gets the win there. Basically, at the beginning of the show, we had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, talking about, how basically Big Show gets on via satellite. They talk about the matches before he gets on there. They talk about some of the matches that are going to happen that night, or that are going to happen at Hell in a Cell this Sunday, I mean. And, they talk sort of about some other things like Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton. And then Big Show appears via satellite. Stephanie McMahon starts to complain, like, get this satellite off. How did Show get on? Get Show off. Get him off. And then Big Show's just kind of going back at Triple H back and forth via satellite. And it was kind of funny but stupid at the same time. It's like, how would you, and he's in like, looks like he's almost in an alleyway, which is really weird. Like, they expect us to believe that he hacked into the system via satellite in an alleyway, but whatever. It was funny for what it was worth. They finally cut him off. Then Daniel Bryan Ambrose happens. Like I said, Daniel Bryan wins. Then you have, there's a couple matches announced tonight for Hell in a Cell, 3 actually. I'll announce them later. Then you have Santino Marella come out in an Elvis suit with Hornswoggle with Elvis hair, with Great Khali with Elvis hair, and it looks like a train wreck coming to the ring. It was funny, but it was also kind of retarded in a way. Not literally, but it's just sort of stupid. Basically, it was just to get some entertainment into the show. Santino, they always use him for those kind of skits or kind of matches, like where it be a tuxedo match versus Ricardo at No Way Out last year. Santino's dressed up in all kinds of things. It's just, at this point, it's kind of funny, but it's to a certain extent, I feel sort of bad for Santino getting thrown in these costumes. I guess he doesn't mind it, but whatever. Santino Marella beats Heath Slater with a Cobra with Elvis hair on the Cobra. So there was Elvis hair everywhere. The reason they had Elvis costumes is because they were in Memphis, Tennessee. And Santino beat Slater in a joking, non-serious, not very good match. Then we got Dolph Ziggler versus Randy Orton. Another good match tonight, or last night on Raw. You had back and forth action. Remember these two went at it at Night of Champions 2012. One match that might have stealed the show. CM Punk, besides CM Punk and Cena. They had a great match there. They've had plenty other various good matches on Raw and SmackDown before. But every time these two get in the ring, same with Bryan and Ambrose, you never get disappointed. Good stuff, back and forth. You had Ziggler hit a Famouser at one point in the match for a near fall. Then you had Randy Orton ended up hitting an RKO to get the win out of nowhere, really. It was a cool RKO, as always. And Randy Orton picks up the win and gets the victory going into Hell in a Cell for the go-home show Raw. Then we've got the Bellas versus AJ and Tamina. Nikki and Brie versus AJ and Tamina. The Bellas win with a sit-out facebuster. Brie Bella hits it on AJ. We get announced a match for Hell in a Cell Divas Championship match, AJ Lee versus Brie Bella, this Sunday, Hell in a Cell, and that was announced on Raw. So it should be, their match at, what was it? It was Battleground. Wasn't awful. It was decent, and I expect the same from this. This has actually been they put on some pretty good matches, I have to say. I'm interested to see who they're gonna, if AJ's gonna retain or Brie's gonna win, because Brie's been getting a lot of the wins lately, but anything could happen. So you never know. It seems like that's how WWE buries heel champions, is they let them lose every time on regular show, but when it comes to the title, they retain. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. But I'll expect a decent match. Nothing great, but a decent match between Brie and AJ at Hell in a Cell this Sunday for the Divas title. Then we have Renee Young backstage with Heyman and Ryback and Axel. They go off at each other. Heyman goes off about lava and a volcano and all kinds of things just out of nowhere. And it was pretty cool and funny, but it was just sort of random. I guess they're talking about the volcano and lava because it's Hell in a Cell, and you think dark and eerie and gloomy and lava. I don't know what that has to do, but whatever. Then he basically went off a rant and went nuts for a few minutes, and that was that. You have Big E interrupt Axel right backstage, right in the middle of all of it. He says Big E's going to face Curtis Axel tonight. He says, you want me, you got me. So we think we're going to get Big E versus Curtis tonight. Then we have HBK talking backstage with Stephanie and Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, just hugs, exchanging words, etc. Glad to see each other. Crap like that. Then we've got another rematch, the Wyatt family versus Miz and Kofi. This is the second time this has happened. For this match anyway. No problem with it. They put on a good match, decent match on SmackDown last Friday. The Wyatt family emerged victorious there. It was basically Harper and Rowan in a tag match. Just to be clear, not Bray Wyatt. He was sitting ringside like he always does in the rocking chair. But this match was good, just like SmackDown. I'd say just as good as it was on SmackDown, the match on Raw. Wyatt family versus Miz and Kofi. Like I said, Rowan and Harper become victorious. Towards the end of the match, Kofi Kingston hits a Trouble in Paradise on Eric Rowan, who's on the ring apron, takes out Rowan. And then Luke Harper hits a vicious discus lariat on Kofi Kingston, turning him inside out, pins him for the win. Bray Wyatt cuts a cool, one of his awesome kind of eerie, weird promos at the end talking about Miz. So I think we're going to get the same thing like Bray Wyatt and Kofi. They're just going to be like, all right, Miz versus Bray Wyatt. They've had some feuding for like the past 2 weeks. So I think we're going to get Miz versus Bray Wyatt. I think that'll be a match that'll be added on during main event or SmackDown this week. And we'll get Miz versus Bray Wyatt, I think, at Hell in a Cell. So that should be interesting. Then we've got Big E versus Curtis Axel. What we think. The match never started. Langston just gets attacked by Curtis Axel and Ryback, who's ringside at the same time. Langston fights him off with the help of, then CM Punk comes out, takes out all the members. Vicky Guerrero sets up a tag match, Big E and CM Punk versus Curtis Axel and Ryback. Back and forth. Basically what happens is, Punk gets a lot of goes through all his moveset. Then, Big E gets the hot tag later on in the match when Punk's, getting beat down. Then, then Punk clotheslines Ryback while Axel's on the ground. Big E picks him up, hits the big ending on Curtis. Big E pins Curtis Axel for the 1-2-3 in the middle of the ring. Later on we find another match added to the Hell in a Cell card. It's official. Big E Langston versus Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental Championship at Hell in a Cell on the pre-show. Now this match should be good. I'm excited for it, but pre-show generally makes the match worse because they don't get enough time. I'd really prefer this to be on the card, but what are you going to do? So we have Big E versus Curtis for the Intercontinental title. Pre-show Sunday, Hell in a Cell. Check it out. If you want to see this match, tune in at 7:30 on WWE's YouTube channel or WWE.com or every social media platform possible. Then you have R-Truth doing great selling of the WWE merch at the merch stand, just selling it like a champ would. He's talking about the piggy banks going ham. That was pretty funny. He talks about John Cena, you can't see me. He goes, you can see me. He says, talks about Daniel Bryan, puts the Daniel Bryan beard on, goes, yes, yes, yes. So cool there. I know that's not significant, but it was just a funny moment. I enjoyed it. Then we've got the Real Americans versus Tons of Funk. Basically what happens is Zeb Coulter goes ringside, trashes Los Matadores, so they're going to be feuding with Real Americans, which will be cool. Real Americans end up beating Tons of Funk when Cesaro does the Cesaro swing on Brodus Clay. Swagger comes in. It's the ankle lock on Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay taps, or the Patriot lock, as Swagger calls it. And the Real Americans emerge victorious, so that'll be pretty cool. Maybe the Real Americans are at least picking up some wins now. Make them seem somewhat legit, but they've already been buried enough to these face tag teams. Now we've got a number one contenders match. Even though technically the Usos are number one contenders, they threw them in a match to determine the number one contender for the tag titles at Hell in a Cell. Rhodes and Goldust on commentary ringside. Basically what happens towards the end of the match, this match was really good too, another good match, but the ending kind of made it a little less what you want to see. But basically what happens, Ambrose gets in Cody Rhodes' face, slaps him, Goldust takes Ambrose out. Usos, The Shield, and Cody Rhodes and Goldust are going at it ringside. Ref calls for the bell. The match ends in a no contest after all that great 10 to 15 minutes of action between the Usos and Shield, Reigns, and Rollins, and a good match. So the ending wasn't good. It was no contest. Later on, we find out, though, in the night, there's it's going to be triple threat tag team action for the tag team championships at Hell in a Cell. Cody Rhodes and Goldust are going to be defending against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins against the Usos. So it's a triple threat. Rhodes versus Goldust versus Reigns and Rollins versus the Usos. Hell in a Cell tag match, triple threat action. I guess you could call it not really triple threat tag team action. This match has a potential to steal the show right here. I'm calling it now. Steal the show. This match will be good, high flying action, super kicks from the Usos, spears, gosh knows what on the outside. Goldust being the entertainer that he is just by looking at him. Cody Rhodes, great wrestler. So it's going to be some great action. I'm really excited for that match. Regardless who wins, it'll be good. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. So that's another match made. Then we've got our final thing, the contract signing between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. Basically, Orton and Bryan exchange words. They just bark back at each other, back and forth. And then Triple H just says, silences Orton, says that HBK will do what's right. HBK's in there. HBK says he knows Triple H is against Daniel Bryan, but he has faith in Daniel Bryan. He's going to call it right down the middle. Big Show drives into the arena with a truck and distracts Orton and all them. Then Big Show tells Orton to turn around. Orton hits a running knee from Daniel Bryan. Bryan gets out of the ring, and Big Show gets out of his truck, stands next to the truck, celebrates with yes, yes, yes. Bryan celebrates with yes, yes, yes. And we end the show there. 3 matches made for Hell in a Cell. Big E versus Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental title pre-show at Hell in a Cell. Brie Bella versus AJ Lee for the Divas title at Hell in a Cell. And a triple threat tag team title match at Hell in a Cell. So, should be some good. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 more matches added on Main Event or SmackDown this week. So, we'll probably have 7 or 8 matches on the card. So, overall, pretty good Raw. That's what I'll say for now. Now I'm going to be talking about Bound for Glory. Disappointing show. TNA, the biggest event, 1 or 2 matches. If you watch my review, I do a 20-minute review in depth on my YouTube channel. But what a disappointing Raw we had. Raw. Bound for Glory. One of the worst Bound for Glories I've seen ever. I was actually looking forward to this match on paper. Sting and Magnus did not deliver. Not very good. Angle Rude delivered and some more. And the Bromans win the tag team titles over Team Gunner and James Storm. No one saw that coming unless you were in TNA booking or unless you were just knew somebody who knew somebody. So the Bromans won the pre-show tag team gauntlet, which was surprising enough. And then they end up winning the tag titles over James Storm and Gunner. Good for them. Good for the Bromans. I think they deserve a applause because finally Robbie E gets another title. They're entertaining guys to watch. Some people may argue that their gimmick is a little fruity or a little weird in a sense that they are like male model kind of male strippers, not really male strippers, but like male model kind of the way TNA books them. But TNA, good for the Bromans. Congrats on them winning tag titles. Even though they didn't win a lot of matches, they're considered the jobber tag team of TNA like 3MB is for WWE. But the Bromans win. I'm happy. Some people may not be, but, that's your opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm very happy for them. I've been a fan of Robbie E. Jesse Goddard, he's alright. I like him alright. So good for them. Bromans tag team champs. So we'll see how, at least they're getting a push, in my opinion. What's TNA have to lose? A lot, actually, because they are they're going downhill fast, as most of you know. I'll talk about some other matches. AJ Styles, your new TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and sloppy matches. Dixie Carter comes out of the ring and ruins it completely. Bully Ray loses the title. I'm a big Bully Ray and Aces and Eights fan. I saw it coming, but I'm going to keep saying Bully Ray for champ. Even though a lot of people would argue his run was not very good because they took the title off of him against Chris Sabin, which completely screwed him over. He wins it back, and at that point, it's like, what the hell is this booking? Good Lord. Hold the title. I'm sick of TNA giving the title for this guy for a month. You need to make a heel. I know we've had some dominant heels in TNA in the past, but you need Bully Ray. If you're going to let him hold the title again, just let him hold it from Lockdown on to Bound for Glory instead of giving it to Sabin and just kind of, you take it. No, you take it. Lord. Stop the pain. Bully Ray. I don't know what they'll do with him. I'm assuming Mr. Anderson will return and feud with Bully Ray. I don't see... Oh yeah, Bully Ray versus not Chris Sabin. Bully Ray versus AJ Styles TNA World Heavyweight Championship rematch on free TV. Impact Wrestling this Thursday. They give it to us, make us pay for it. For those of us who paid, including myself, who paid for it, and it was giving it to us on free TV. What was the point of giving it to us main event for a whole damn month to begin with, building all that up, and then I understand they have to have a rematch, but at least, Jesus. Ugh. Don't just put it on a regular Impact. Do it on, I don't know, one of their events that's free pay-per-view TV or whatever. Even though it's free, it still has a... Whatever. Enough of me bitching about TNA's booking. I could go on forever in a rant, but I'll stop. I apologize for those 3 or 4 minutes that I went off and cussed a few times. I'm sorry I try to keep it PG most of the time, and sometimes I lose it, like I did just now. But, yeah, Bully Ray lost in a sloppy match. AJ Styles hits the spiral tap, beats Bully Ray. Whoop-de-doo. Congrats to AJ, though. He deserves it. Good for AJ. He definitely deserves the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Good wrestler. First time since 2008 since he won it. He held it for a year back then, I'm pretty sure. Or not, maybe not a year, but almost a year. So it was good stuff from AJ. Congrats on him winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. At least they put the title on him. I'll give him that. So good for him. He definitely deserves it. One of the more deserved. One of the biggest faces in TNA. And one of the most underrated guys, in my opinion. So good for AJ. New TNA World Champ. Ultimate X match. Not very good. Disappointing there. Chris Sabin wins the TNA X Division Championship in an Ultimate X match. And what looks like the title just came loose off the upper rope. And that was that. And then, I mean, it looks like this finish was sloppy. Like, he was going after the title, and it almost looked like he just kind of went off it and just grabbed it, yanked it right off, and hit Jeff Hardy off the thing, and that was it. It was just a weird finish. You'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about, see the ending of the Ultimate X match. So I'm messaging one of my friends back right now, so give me a second. Alright, so back to that. Yeah, Chris Sabin wins, new X Division champ. We have also, Mannix lost it, so I don't know what they'll do with him. Probably have some good matches with the likes of Chris Sabin feuding. That made sense considering Chris Sabin was really the only heel involved in that Ultimate X match. So I think that made sense that Chris Sabin won it. Just the ending, how he won it was weird. He was X Division champ literally right before Destination X in July at the Free TV, where he cashed it in for a chance and won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship over Bully Ray. So it'll be interesting. It's sort of up for grabs at this point what they're going to do with a lot of these wrestlers after Bound for Glory. You never know, because they may not have much for them. But back to the knockouts, back to the Ultimate X. Chris Sabin wins. Then you have Sting beats Magnus beats Sting with the Texas Cloverleaf later on. None of these matches are in any particular order. I'm just talking about them. Every title in TNA had a title change except for the TV title, which wasn't even defended. Abyss returns, takes out Bad Influence after they attacked Joseph Park in the pre-show match to get revenge for his brother. Black Hole Slam, get the fans excited there. Abyss returns for like 5 minutes, and we probably won't see him for another 3 months. They need to just get rid of this Joseph Park character and bring Abyss back on TV, because to be quite honest, I do not like Joseph Park. His character bores me, and it's just weird. Everybody knows Joseph Park is Abyss, so let's just put Abyss back on TV, please, TNA. Then we've got Knockouts title action, triple threat, ODB versus Brooke Tessmacher versus Gail Kim. Gail Kim wins with the help of Lady Tapa. Lady Tapa takes out ODB, then catches Brooke Tessmacher in midair when she tries to jump to the outside, powerbombs Brooke Tessmacher. Gail Kim pins Tessmacher, and Gail Kim is your new TNA Knockouts champ, and we find out she's in cahoots with Lady Tapa. So now Lady Tapa and Gail Kim are in an alliance, which will be interesting to see. That'll be cool. So, yeah. Trying to think. Angle beats Rude in a weird finish. Angle went for the angle slam off the top rope. Hits it on Rude. Rude falls. They're at the 9 count. Rude jumps on Angle just before the 10 count when they're in the middle of the ring. Pins Angle for the 1-2-3 in a weird finish. Great match. But sloppy, weird finish again, which kind of took a little bit away from the match. Angle was getting stretchered out, but got up on his own power and walked out waving to the fans. He declined his TNA Hall of Fame induction earlier on in the show, which is weird to me considering he had that speech in the Hall of Fame ceremony the night before. So he declines being inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. earlier on. So that was just kind of weird. I don't know where they're going with that storyline. Well, whatever. So yeah, that wraps up TNA Bound for Glory. Oh yeah, Ethan Carter makes his debut match, aka Derek Bateman, beats Noah Furnham, aka Peter Avalon, in the SoCal Pro Wrestling scene. If those of you watch it, he wrestles in SoCal Pro Wrestling sometimes. So it'll be interesting. And yeah, that wraps up TNA Bound for Glory. So, people are messaging me again. Alright, sorry about that. Alright. So that's basically that for Bound for Glory. Disappointing show. Overall, this one of my friends is spamming me on Facebook. So dang it, stop it, please. I apologize for that. I just need to get off. Alright. So back to the SuperCard Radio. Now after I've done TNA and Raw, I'm going to talk a little bit about Hell in a Cell this Sunday. I think it's only proper since I'm doing my third episode and it's this week and it's this coming week. We've got Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. I'll be previewing it. No predictions here. That'll be for another video that I'll be predicting later on in the week. Little Hell in a Cell preview for you all. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and the Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust triple threat tag title match should be one heck of a match. Should be good action. Like I said, I think it'll be a show stealer. One of the better matches of the night. I could see the Shield winning in a way with Triple H coming out and screwing them over since Dean Ambrose is still the U.S. champ. It wouldn't make sense for him to hold the title while the Reigns and Rollins aren't holding it. So I could see something like that. But after all, Goldust and Rhodes just won a week ago, so I could see it just being whatever. Somebody trying to interfere and them stopping it and them retaining. The Usos could be a wild card and just surprise people out of the blue, but I really don't see them winning. So I think it's up to Reigns, Rollins, Goldust, and Rhodes. Whoever wins. I could see the Usos are wild card, so whatever, in my opinion. So then, what else do we have? Brie Bella and AJ Lee for the Divas title. If you remember, AJ Lee's held it since Payback for about, that was June, so she's held about 4 or 5 months. Good title reign, brought some prestige to the Divas title, considering that even she's getting a little stale now, but not too stale for some people. Not for me. I've always liked AJ Lee, so I hope she retains, but I could see Brie Bella winning, becoming your new Divas champ. That's another one up and down. But Brie Bella's gotten the best of AJ Lee on SmackDown and Raw. Last Friday on SmackDown she won, and then Monday she won in a tag match and pinned AJ Lee again. So anything could happen. I'm sure Tamina will get involved, AJ's bodyguard. So anything could happen. That's up for grabs as well. Big E, Langston, Curtis Axel is also up for grabs. I could easily see Big E winning, but it is the pre-show. We've seen title changes on there. Remember, Cesaro beat Morella, and I'm pretty sure there was another one. So anything can happen there. Curtis Axel could retain. Big E could win. That's another up for grabs. I'm sure that match will be good. I wish it was not on the pre-show because it could be some time taken away from it. Whether if it was on the main card, get like 10 minutes. But pre-show probably 6 or 7, unfortunately. I hope it gets 10 minutes. And I'm looking forward to that match. So finally Big E gets a title shot. They turned him face now. So it's interesting to see. He was face in NXT, and I thought he was perfectly good. He's a nice guy to begin with. I've never met him, but I've seen him on YouTube and stuff. He seemed like a pretty nice, genuine, down-to-earth guy. So yeah, Big E versus Curtis Axel. That match should be good as well. I'm thinking, for the Intercontinental title. Then what else do we have? Of course, the World Heavyweight Championship with Alberto Del Rio. One of my favorite wrestlers. No one likes him for some reason. Maybe it's his mic work, whatever. I think he's okay on the mic. Sure, he's not the best, but his wrestling sure is pretty dang good. Against the returning John Cena, who's been out for 3 or 4 months since SummerSlam. And he's coming back to the WWE. Hasn't had a match, so they just say, well, let's throw him in the World Heavyweight Championship match. Yeah, he deserves it. The guy hasn't been wrestling in 3 or 4 months. So how will you tell me he deserves the World Heavyweight Championship match? Sure, he's John Cena, and you guys book him upper card. Sure, he's a pretty good wrestler. He's over with some people, but a lot of people still hate his guts. So I hope Del Rio retains. But if Cena ends up winning this, I think they're going to unify the World Heavyweight Championship in the WWE, and he'll have a shot at it, whoever wins it. I could see either one winning. I could see Cena winning. I could see Del Rio retaining maybe with like a screwy, sloppy finish, or maybe a DQ finish or no contest or something like that. I could see something like that happening. But that's up in the air. There's a lot of matches where they're not easy to predict, so I'm looking forward to Hell in a Cell for that one reason. Because you never know. A lot of these matches aren't like, yeah, I think he's going to win for sure. It's not like that. There's they could go both ways. Then you've got Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan for the, what else? Am I missing any other matches? Divas. You got Divas Intercontinental Tag Title, World Heavyweight Championship. Pretty sure there's like 5 matches on the card. Yeah. Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan. Should be good. In a steel cage. Oh yeah, Punk. I missed a match. Punk versus Heyman and Ryan. Punk versus Paul Heyman and Ryback. Stupid me, Ryan. Ryan's not even a wrestler in WWE. I apologize. So Punk, like I said, versus Heyman and Ryback, handicap match in the cell, Hell in a Cell. Should be if Punk Ryback, that match at Battleground, very disappointing, not very good. Ended with like a kick to the Ryback's private parts and pinning him, and that was that. That was a weird, screwy finish. I'd like to see a good match here. I could see Ryback winning, get revenge since he lost at Battleground, getting him over, because he always loses on pay-per-view, as most of you know. I think Ryback needs the win more than Punk does at this point in time. But I could also see Punk winning here, getting his hands on Heyman at the end, but I could also see Ryback winning because he needs it, getting revenge on Punk. Another up-and-down match. Then Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. Main event, WWE Championship. Hell in a Cell. There's all kinds of rumors going around. I won't say it. I won't say anything. But it should be a good match. We've had 2 screwy finishes at Night of Champions. In Battleground, we didn't even have a finish. It was no contest. WWE. What the heck? I could go on a rant all day about those 2 pay-per-views, but I'm not. I already did one for Bound for Glory, so I won't put you through another one. So it should be good. So yeah, I could see Daniel Bryan winning because he's so over and giving him the title, but if you didn't put him on in the first place, what was the point? Giving it up in a day, I didn't get that, but whatever. I could see Bryan winning because he's so over with the crowd, and maybe Shawn Michaels, or I could see Shawn Michaels, who's the special guest ref for this match, go super kick Orton and miss him and kick Bryan, and Orton wins, or I could see Triple H getting in the cage somehow or getting somebody to interfere. There'll be some interference, no doubt about it. No ands, ifs, or buts. There'll be some interferences and swerves in this match. Who will win? It's a mystery, so you never know. I don't know. It should be interesting to see what's going to happen. So yeah, that wraps up Hell in a Cell preview for me, this wraps up. I did some Bound for Glory recap, some Raw recap, Hell in a Cell preview. That wraps up SuperCard Radio Episode 3 with RSC 6414. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe. Check out my other videos. RSC 6414 out.